Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive with us.
Glad to be here.
Today we're really getting into the nitty-gritty of what makes a relationship work.
Yeah.
Especially for guys out there facing, all the challenges of modern dating and relationships.
Sure.
We're diving into this book today that
Oh yeah, I know the one.
that really digs into some of the unspoken truths about
Yeah.
masculinity and respect and leadership and relationships.
Yeah, it goes there.
I mean, this book, it doesn't shy away from some touchy subject.
No, it does not.
But, our goal here isn't to tell you what to think.
Of course not.
We just want to lay out the ideas and
Explore them.
and let you decide what you make of them.
Definitely.
So one of the first things that really jumped out at me in this book was this whole idea of the double bind that men face these days.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
It's like society tells guys you got to be vulnerable, share your feelings.
Right, be open.
But then if you do that too much,
Yeah.
suddenly you're
weak.
you're not attractive anymore.
Total catch-22.
It is a total catch-22.
The author actually, he uses this example of a guy named Steve.
Oh yeah, what happened with him?
So Steve, he's like trying to be super open with his partner, sharing every little feeling he has.
Thinking that's what's gonna
Yeah, bring them closer.
Yeah.
But it totally backfired.
Oh no.
His partner starts losing respect for him.
Wow, so even though his intentions were good,
Totally.
it's still
Blew up in his face.
So how does that happen? Why would being open and vulnerable backfire like that?
Well, the book uses this really cool analogy about binge watching a show on Netflix.
Okay, I can see where this is going.
Imagine watching every episode all at once.
Oh man, it wouldn't be as good.
Right, you'd miss all the suspense, the build.
You wouldn't even want to watch it.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'm over this show already.
And the same thing applies to relationships.
Okay, so it's too much too soon.
Yeah, you got to keep some mystery.
So it's not about never being vulnerable.
No, not at all.
It's more about choosing your moments.
Exact strategic vulnerability.
I like that.
That's what the book calls it.
So strategic vulnerability.
And it all ties into this idea of emotional control.
Okay, now that term emotional control, it sounds a little
Intense.
a little intense.
I get it.
I'm picturing you suppressing all your feelings.
No, it's not about that.
Okay, good.
It's not about shutting down your emotions completely.
So what is it about then?
It's about being able to navigate challenges without losing your cool.
So being the calm in the storm.
Exact. Even when things get crazy.
That makes a lot more sense.
You're not letting your emotions run the show.
You're in control.
Right. You're the captain of your own ship.
I like that analogy.
And that's where the book brings in this concept of stoicism.
Doses, okay, for
That's-
that term thrown around.
Yeah, it's become pretty popular lately.
But I'm not sure I really understand what it means.
Yeah, it can sound kind of intimidating.
Yeah, like ancient philosophers and...
Togas.
Yeah.
But the book, it presents stoicism in a really practical way.
So less about the philosophy and more about the...
The application.
Yeah.
It's like a toolkit for dealing with all the chaos of life.
Okay, so how does stoicism help with relationships specifically?
Well, think about it. Someone who can stay calm under pressure, who can handle tough situations gracefully.
They command respect.
Exactly.
So emotional control is like a superpower.
It's one of the keys to earning respect, not just from your partner, but in every area of life.
So it's not just about being a man, it's about...
being a strong individual.
Right, but this whole double bind thing, it seems like it's a particular...
Yeah, it's a challenge for men,
It is for men.
especially today.
Yeah, because you're expected to be both.
Strong and sensitive,
Yeah.
stoic and open.
It's a tough balance.
It is a tough balance, and that's where the book gets into this really interesting concept called the alpha-beta paradox.
Okay, the alpha-beta paradox. Now you've got my attention. What is that?
So essentially, it's this idea that there's a disconnect between what women say they want in a partner and what they're actually drawn to.
So they say they want one thing.
Right.
But then they're attracted to something else.
Exactly. It's about understanding how attraction really works.
So are you saying that women say they want a nice guy, but they actually go for the alpha male?
It's a little more nuanced than that.
Okay.
It's not about being a jerk.
Yeah.
It's about having those alpha qualities, the strength, the confidence, the leadership.
Okay, but how do you lead without being controlled?
That's the key. That's the paradox.
Right.
You got to find that sweet spot between strength and sensitivity.
I can see how that would be tricky.
It is. But the book gives some great examples.
Like what?
So there's this guy, Mike, in the book.
Okay.
He was your classic nice guy, always putting everyone else first, avoiding conflict.
People probably walked all over him.
Zach, he was a pushover in his career, in his relationship. Then he decides to make a change. He starts working on developing those alpha traits, becoming more assertive, more decisive. It completely transforms his life.
Wow, so just by adopting these alpha traits,
It's not just about the traits themselves.
Yeah.
It's about what they represent.
confidence.
Self-respect, leadership.
Okay, so it's not about being an alpha male, it's about being the best version of yourself.
Exactly. And that's attractive.
That makes sense.
It shows you're not afraid to take charge.
but not in a domineering way.
Right. You're a leader, not a dictator.
Okay, so leadership is a big part of this.
It's a huge part of it. And the book really emphasizes that it's not about controlling your partner. It's about setting a strong, reliable tone in the relationship.
Like being the captain of the ship.
Exactly. But in a collaborative way.
Okay, so you're steering the ship, but you're not...
You're not a tyrant.
Right.
You're working together.
I like that.
And the book has this great story about a guy named John who's moving his family across the country.
Oh, man, that's stressful.
Super stressful.
Yeah.
Everything's going wrong. Chaos everywhere.
Right.
But John, he steps up and takes charge.
Good for him.
He doesn't panic. He doesn't yell. He just gets things done.
So he was the calm in the storm.
Exactly. And his wife sees that she can rely on him.
I bet she was super grateful.
More than grateful, she saw him as a leader.
Wow. So it's not always about the grand gesture.
No, sometimes it's the little things.
Showing up and
Being reliable.
yeah, being the rock.
That's what builds trust and respect.
It's all starting to come together now. This whole idea of emotional control leadership, the alpha beta paradox. It's like a roadmap for
Building stronger relationships.
exactly.
And the book goes even deeper. There's this whole concept of the emotional iceberg.
Okay, the emotional iceberg. Now I'm really intrigued.
So it's a metaphor for how much of yourself you should reveal in a relationship.
Okay, so we talk about like keeping secrets.
Not exact. It's more about being strategic with your vulnerability.
Okay, so like choosing what you share and when you share it.
Right. The book suggests revealing only about 10% of your emotion.
10%. That doesn't seem like a lot.
It might seem like a small number.
Yeah.
But it's not about hiding who you are.
Oh.
It's about maintaining your frame.
Wait, hold on. What's frame?
Your frame is essentially your sense of self, your strength, your confidence.
Okay.
When you reveal too much too soon, you risk eroding that frame.
And that makes you less attractive.
Exactly. It goes back to that mystery and intrigue we were talking about earlier.
So it's like you want to keep your partner wanting to learn more about you.
Exactly. You want to keep them engaged.
So the emotional iceberg is really about setting healthy boundaries.
It's a big part of it.
Because if you don't have boundaries,
People will walk all over you.
and you lose respect.
Exactly.
The book mentions this guy, Greg.
Oh, yeah. Greg. What was his story? So Greg was constantly bending over backwards to please his wife.
Trying to be the nice guy.
He was always saying yes, never asserting his own needs.
Oh, no.
And guess what? His wife started losing respect for him.
Wow. So even though he thought he was doing the right thing,
He was actually sabotaging the relationship.
because he didn't have any boundaries.
Yeah, he didn't value himself enough to set limits.
So setting boundaries isn't selfish.
No, it's essential for a healthy relationship.
It shows you respect yourself.
And that's attractive.
This is all making so much sense now. This whole idea of strategic vulnerability,
Yeah.
emotional control, setting boundaries.
It's all connected.
It is. It's like a whole new way of looking at relationships.
It is a new perspective.
And it's definitely giving me a lot to think about.
Me too.
Well, this has been an amazing start to our deep dive.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have, but there's still so much more to explore in this book.
Definitely.
So stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve into the importance of consistency, financial stability, and communication.
Can't wait. Welcome back. It's great to be continuing this deep dive with you.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Me too. It's fascinating stuff.
It is, and you know that whole emotional iceberg thing from last time?
Oh, yeah.
That really got me thinking.
It's a powerful concept.
It is. It's like this whole hidden dimension of relationship.
Absolutely. And it ties into this idea of consistency that the book talks about.
Consistency. Okay, that sounds pretty straightforward.
It does, but there's more to it than meets the eye.
So it's not just about, like, showing up on time for dates.
Well, that's part of it,
Right.
but it goes deeper.
Okay, so what's the deeper meaning of consistency in a relationship?
It's about being reliable, not just with your actions, but also with your emotions.
So being the same guy day in and day out,
Exactly. Someone your partner can always count on.
like a rock.
Exactly. You're the steady force in the relationship.
I like that.
And the book makes this point that it's not about grand gesture.
Okay, so it's not about like buying her flowers every week.
No, it's about the little things.
The everyday action.
Exactly. Like showing up when you say you will.
Keeping your promise.
Exact doing what you say you're going to do.
Even if it's something small.
Even if it seems insignificant.
Because those little things add up.
They do. The book actually tells this story about a guy who lost his wife's trust over a leaky faucet.
A leaky faucet.
So he
Seriously.
kept promising to fix it, but he never did.
Oh man, that's got to be frustrating.
It was, and it wasn't really about the faucet itself.
Right, it was about
The broken promise.
the lack of follow through.
Exactly. It eroded her trust in him.
Wow. So even something as small as a leaky faucet can have a big impact on a relationship.
It can, because it's about consistency, about being a man of your word.
So those little inconsistencies, they can really chip away at the foundation of a relationship.
It's like death by 1,000 cuts.
Ouch.
The book calls this the longevity loop.
The longevity loop. Okay, I like that. What's that all about?
So the idea is that consistency builds trust.
Okay.
And trust leads to greater respect and attraction.
Makes sense.
And that, in turn, strengthens the bond and makes the relationship more likely to last.
So it's like this positive feedback loop.
Exactly. You're creating a virtuous
The
cycle.
longevity loop. I may have to remember that one.
It's a good one. And it all starts with consistency.
Okay, so we've got emotional control, leadership consistency, and the book also talks about financial stability.
Right, that's another big one.
And I'm curious how that plays into the whole respect and attraction thing.
Yeah, it's an important piece of the puzzle.
So are you saying that women are only attracted to men with money?
No, not at all. It's not about being rich.
Okay, good, because I'm not exactly rolling in dough.
It's about being responsible.
Okay, so having your finances in order.
Exactly, showing that you're capable and reliable.
So it's more about demonstrating that you're not going to be a financial burden.
Right, you're not going to be a drain on the relationship.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it goes back to our evolutionary instinct.
How so?
Well, historically, a man's ability to provide was essential for survival.
Like back in the caveman days.
Exactly. And while our world is different today, those instincts still play a role.
So women are still looking for a partner who can provide stability and security.
It's wired into us.
So it's not about flashing your cash. It's about showing that you can manage your money responsibly.
Exactly. It's about being a good steward of your resources.
And being honest about your financial situation.
Absolutely. The book actually tells a story about a guy who lied about his income to impress his wife.
Oh, no, that's never a good idea.
It's not. And it backfired big time when she found out the truth.
Yeah, that's going to destroy trust.
It shattered their relationship.
So honesty is key.
Always.
So we've got emotional control, leadership, consistency, financial stability, and of course we can't forget about communication.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
I mean,
too.
everyone knows communication is important in a relationship.
Right. It's like communication 101.
What unique insights does this book offer on communication?
Well, it goes beyond the basics.
Okay, so it's not just about talking to each other.
It's about communicating effectively.
Okay, I'm
The
listening.
book really emphasizes clarity, assertiveness, and active listening.
Okay, let's break those down one by one.
Yeah.
Clarity and communication.
Clarity is about being direct and straightforward.
So no more beating around the bush.
Exactly. Say what you mean and mean what you say.
Makes sense.
It's about making sure your message is understood.
So less room for misunderstandings.
Right. Because those can lead to resentment and conflict.
And speaking of conflict, the book mentions this guy who would always give his wife the silent treatment after an argument.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
Not a good look.
It's passive aggressive and it's not helpful.
So what should he have done instead?
He should have been more assertive.
Okay, but when I hear assertive, I think of being aggressive or pushy.
I get it, but that's not what the book means by assertiveness.
Okay, so what does it mean?
It's about expressing your needs and boundaries in a confident and respectful way.
So standing up for yourself without being a jerk.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot.
And the book says that women are actually attracted to men who can communicate assertively.
They are, because it shows confidence and leadership.
It shows you're not a pushover.
Right. You're not afraid to speak your mind.
And the book gives an example of a guy who transformed his marriage by becoming more assertive.
Yeah. He was always letting his wife walk all over him.
Afraid of conflict.
Exactly. But then he started setting boundaries and communicating his needs clearly.
And what happened?
It actually strengthened their relationship.
Wow. So being assertive can actually make your relationship better,
It can, because it creates a more balanced and respectful dynamic.
where both partners feel heard.
Exactly.
Okay, so assertiveness is important, but the book also talks about active listening.
Right. That's the other side of the coin.
And to be honest, I'm not sure I really know what active listening is.
It's more than just hearing the words your partner is saying.
So it's not just nodding and saying, uh-huh.
No, it's about really engaging with what they're saying.
So trying to understand their perspective.
Exactly. And making them feel heard and validated.
So like putting your phone down, making eye contact.
All of that and more.
So active listening takes effort
It does. But it's worth it.
because it shows your partner that you care.
Exactly. And that you're truly present with them.
The book tells this story about a guy whose wife was feeling ignored.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
And he started practicing active listening
And it transformed their relationship.
just by listening.
It's powerful stuff.
It shows how much communication matters.
It's the foundation of any healthy relationship.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. Emotional control, leadership, consistency, financial stability, communication.
They all work together.
Like a blueprint for a successful relationship.
It is a roadmap to a deeper, more fulfilling connection.
And this is just scratching the surface.
We've got more to cover in the final part of our deep dive.
We do so. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll explore the book's insights on setting boundaries and the importance of self-improvement.
That's going to be good.
All right, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive.
It's been a great conversation.
It really has, and I feel like we've uncovered some really valuable insights.
Definitely a lot to think about.
There is, and one of the things I'm really curious to dive into is this whole idea of setting boundaries.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It is, and to be honest, I'm not always sure what that means in practice.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with that.
So for those of us who are maybe a little fuzzy on the details, what exactly are boundaries?
Well, think of them as your personal limits, the lines you draw in the sand.
Okay, so like what I'm willing to tolerate and what I'm not.
Exactly. It's about protecting your time, your energy, your self-respect.
So it's about knowing your worth and not letting people walk all over you.
Exact. Boundaries are a way of communicating that to others.
So like, this is okay and this is not okay.
Exactly. And when you set those boundaries, clearly you're showing your partner that you value yourself.
And that you respect yourself.
Exactly. And that's huge.
The book mentions this guy, John, who was a total pushover in his marriage.
Oh, yeah. John, he was always saying yes to everything.
Even when he didn't want to.
Even when it went against his own needs.
So he thought he was being a good husband, but it was actually backfiring.
Total. His wife was losing respect for him.
Because he didn't have any boundaries.
Exactly. He didn't stand up for himself.
So she didn't see him as an equal partner.
Right. She saw him as a doormat.
Ouch. That's got to be tough to realize.
It is, but it's a valuable lesson.
So setting boundaries is about being assertive.
It is about communicating your limits clearly and confident.
But also being respectful.
Of course, you don't want to be a jerk about it.
It's about finding that balance.
Exactly.
Now, this might sound counterintuitive, but the book says that setting boundaries can actually increase attraction.
It might seem that way, but it makes sense when you think about it.
How so?
Well, when you set boundaries, you're showing your partner that you have self-respect.
And self-respect is attractive.
It is. Women are drawn to men who value themselves.
So it's not about being self.
No, it's about taking care of yourself.
So you can show up as the best version of yourself in the relationship. And the book also talks about the importance of self-improvement.
Right, that's another key element.
Okay, so on top of everything else we've talked about, we also need to be working on ourselves.
It's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about striving to be better.
So like setting goals, learning new skills.
All of that and more.
Because self-improvement shows that you're not complacent.
It shows you're committed to growth.
And that's attractive.
It is. It shows you're invested in yourself and in the
The
relationship.
book calls this the confidence cascade.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
So the idea is that self-improvement leads to confidence.
And confidence leads to attraction.
Like a positive feedback loop.
Exactly. You create this upward spiral.
Okay, but all this self-improvement stuff, it sounds like a lot of pressure.
I get it. It can feel overwhelming.
Like, I'm never going to be good enough.
No, that's not the point.
Okay, so what's the point then?
The point is to make progress.
Even small steps.
Exactly. It's about celebrating those little wins along the way.
And being kind to yourself.
Absolutely. The book talks about the importance of self-compassion.
Self-compassion, what's that?
It's about recognizing that you're human.
We all make mistakes.
We do, and that's okay.
So it's about giving yourself a break.
Exactly. Not beating yourself up when you mess up.
I like that self-compassion.
It's essential for a healthy mindset.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
I agree. It's been a really thought-provoking conversation.
It has. I feel like I've learned so much about what it takes to build a strong and fulfilling relationship.
Me too.
And if you're looking for more guidance on this journey, I highly recommend checking out this book.
It's a great resource.
It's packed with insights and practical advice. You can find it on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books.
Definitely worth a read.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building those incredible
See you then.